All right, before I start talking about what we did in India, I just want to present my team members. This was a very interdisciplinary team. I could not have done it without them. It ranged from biologists to psychologists, and all of us put in equal effort. But the question we were trying to answer is, does knowledge on elephant cognition, so cognition is animal minds and behavior, result in more positive attitudes towards elephants and elephant conservation? Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. We chose to answer this. It's not been done before. A lot of zoos and aquariums do not talk about this in their educational displays. So this is one of the reasons why we chose to study this. And again, also because of the human-elephant conflict that's going on, which you all are well aware of. This is just not the main source of conflict in India, as you've already heard. It's crop raiding and whatnot, but I thought this picture was very poignant, so I decided to include it. So because of all the conflict going on, obviously mitigation measures are important, including education. So the programs have ranged from community-based participation, which you've heard already, and exposure to wild animals, and then in zoos and aquariums, incorporation of live animals, and in interactive displays. Also, the public is fascinated by animal minds. There are documentaries on animal minds, there are popular magazine covers with cover stories on animal minds, but in spite of this, there hasn't been any studies trying to systematically break this down and see how it affects attitudes. So the few studies, that are linked with facilities that have actually measured some sort of visitor attitudes, I'm just going to briefly go over those. The first is the think tank at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. This is where the public can watch orangutans engage in cognitive research, and they have cognitive displays as well. And in this study, visitors reported, or there was a study linked with this, the center is still there. Visitors reported feeling more connected and having more positive images of animals. There's also the Living Link Center at University of St. Andrews, and the public can watch cognitive research being done with capuchin and squirrel monkeys. And the visitors actually spent more time at the research window when given a description of what was going on and an explanation. Then we have two dolphin studies. One at the Living Sea at Epcot. They do actively and currently engage in dolphin cognition research in front of the public. And Harley, Fellner, and Stampner reported that the majority of comments from visitors included positive feedback, and they also spent more time watching the dolphins when they were engaging in a cognitive session at the Living Seas. And then we have the think tank at the New York Aquarium. They did not include live dolphins in their exhibit, but they did have educational displays incorporating dolphin cognition. So visitors did report an increased appreciation for dolphins. Has this been done in elephants? We have some indirect studies, such as San Diego's Safari Park, who said that up-close elephant encounters had the greatest effect on guest conservation intent. And then we have Zoo Atlanta, where participants reported having more conservation intent when attending elephant shows, so they're more likely to support conservation. So these are not directly cognitive studies or studies incorporating animal minds, but they are indirectly related. And then in situ we have Save the Elephants, who developed a program with Disney's Animal Kingdom and their education team, and they wanted to change primary school children's attitudes towards elephants in and around Samburu National Reserve. And some of the children reported being fearful because of the damage caused while they were raiding crops. And some displayed positive attitudes towards elephants, but as a resource. So after the program, they did demonstrate an improved knowledge on elephant behavior, and the key here is they also demonstrated an increased knowledge of the similarities to humans, which directly has to do with animal cognition. This provides support for using elephant cognition in education programs. Joshua Plotnick is an elephant cognition researcher. He developed Think Elephants International in 2011, so he uses his studies for education in pre-college populations. And from looking at his website and from a preliminary analysis, systematic analysis, it looks like the local pre-college population are demonstrating more positive attitudes because of his education program. But to date, or until we did this last year, nobody isolated the effect of knowledge on elephant cognition, on attitude. So we decided to do this in Banagata National Park. It's in South India. I guess that thing is gonna kind of magnify. I don't think it helps that much. But BNP is a very fragmented habitat. It has about 117 villages located within a 5-kilometer radius of the park, and the human population is about 107,000. And BNP is really small. It's only about 40.26 square miles, and it does have an elephant corridor, and then it also has a sanctuary for semi-captive elephants. So due to the presence of these wild elephants and semi-captive elephants, as well as a very dense human population for the area, it was ideal for testing our cognition-based education program. And you can see some of the conflict. There's elephant footprints in the field. There's my feet by an elephant footprint. There are warning signs: drive cautiously when you're driving through the park. This is an elephant ripping down an electric fence with his tusks. There's young there, so the younger are going to learn from that as well. So what we did, our project design, was have 2 education programs, one with elephant cognition, one without it, and then a control group. So we didn't give them any sort of education, and all 3 groups were surveyed. And our participants were adult male villagers over the age of 18. They had to be responsible for making family decisions, and they had to be in high conflict areas. We also developed our scales from scratch. We based it on the ABC model: affect, behavior, and cognition. So affect meaning how do they feel towards elephants, and behavior meaning how do they behave, and cognition, what kind of knowledge do they have about these elephants. And this has been an empirically supported model. We piloted it at Eastern Kentucky University, where I teach, and it was validated by us. So we had the 2 scales: attitudes towards elephants, and then elephant conservation. That's not the whole snapshot, but if you want to see the whole scale, I can show you. So what was included in each program was information on elephant life history: what do they eat, why are they important for the environment, so your typical stuff. And in our non-cognition program, we also had information on their social structure and an activity. So both programs had an activity. Our activity wasn't like super exciting. We gave them that bottom right picture and asked if they could identify age classes of the elephants. And then we just showed them some videos of elephant social structure. Again, whoa, that was not, okay. Nope, not there yet. Let me see if I can do it this way.